We're joined now by Maria Pena. She's the Washington correspondent for the Spanish language publication La Opinión Impremedia. And I guess an indication of just how important the Latino vote is, you're going to be interviewing one of the folks on the ticket in the upcoming days, someone who speaks fluent Spanish, kind of illustrating how important this block is this year.
Exactly, and the thing about Senator Kaine is that he is not a newcomer to the Hispanic community. I mean, he comes from Virginia, where it's a new destiny for immigrants, recently arrived immigrants, so he knows the issues in and out. And, you know, he's well liked in the Senate. He's well known in the Hispanic community, at least in Virginia. And so he has certainly shown to be an asset to Hillary Clinton, who has more of a spotty record, according to some, when it comes to immigration.
Let me ask you about states where we should keep our eyes on, where the Latino vote could be an influencer, so to speak. Where do you see that happening?
Well, you know, depending on all the different studies that you see out there, there are about, from all the handful of swing states, there are about 4 states where Latinos will definitely play a huge role. And that's Colorado, where they're 22% of the vote, Nevada, 17%, Florida, 18%, and Arizona, 22% as well. And in all those 4 states, polls show that Clinton has she's way out ahead in terms of advantage over Trump. I mean, the Latino community has definitely said they're with her.
So let's talk about some of the controversial comments that Trump has made along the way. He's talked about immigration, this wall, all of that. How is that sitting within the community?
Well, definitely when you look at the ratings for Hispanics, I mean, his favorability ratings among Hispanics is like 19%. That was the latest I saw a couple of weeks ago. And whenever you talk to people on the ground, the one thing they tell you is, you know, I'm afraid for my life. I'm afraid for my children's future. You know, he keeps saying that he's going to deport everyone, 11 million undocumented. He's going to build a wall. Because of all the damaging rhetoric, he's had to walk back some of that. For instance, he's now saying that he's first going to get rid of all the aliens with criminal records, and then they'll worry about what to do with the rest. But again, he has given no specifics. He keeps saying that Mexico is going to pay for the wall. Mexico says, no, they're not. So in essence, what's troubling about the candidacy is that he's not only hurting himself among Hispanics, he's hurting the GOP's outreach with this minority for a long time to come. I mean, you remember the autopsy report from 2012, the GOP pledged to increase their outreach efforts with the Hispanic community, and it hasn't happened. And what you see at the polls is that people are angry, people are upset, they're afraid, and they're saying, no, we're not going to vote for Trump. That's not to say that he doesn't have some support. He does, but not in the numbers that he needs for him to win in November, at least not in the Hispanic community.
When Barack Obama first was running for president of the United States, hope and change, of course, the themes that we heard. And it seems to me, and we've heard this throughout his presidency, that there's a level of disappointment within the Hispanic community that more hasn't been done about immigration reform. And it almost feels like some of them feel as though the Democratic Party hasn't helped them, the Republican Party hasn't helped them. So talk to me about the enthusiasm gap. Is it out there? Do you see it? Is it palpable or not?
I think right now what you're seeing on the ground, ironically, is the biggest driver of the Latino vote is Trump himself, because people are afraid. I mean, for a lot of families that have mixed immigration status, immigration reform is a big deal. It is one of the issues that's driving them to the polls. The economy is another big issue. Because Hispanic voters are not monolithic and they're not one-issue voters. But immigration, economy, health, jobs, they're all up there. When it comes to President Obama, and you're beginning to see all these legacy stories, he's going to have a mixed record when it comes to immigration because, you know, he deported way more people than any other president before him, closer to, you know, over 2 million people deported under his watch. In 2004, he came out with new directives to establish categories for prioritizing deportations. And the thing about it is that it's not a perfect system. A lot of people fell through the cracks. Some people were deported that shouldn't have. And right now, for instance, the crisis with the Central American unaccompanied minors coming here, fleeing the violence in Central America, some of them applied for asylum or refugee status, And instead of, having a speedy process, a lot of them are in detention centers. So that has been a very thorny issue for Hispanic voters because he pledged immigration, to push immigration reform. Now, Democrats and his supporters will come out and say, well, Republicans in Congress stopped us from doing it. But in the end, I think both parties are at fault for not pushing this issue forward.
Maria Pena, thanks so much for stopping
Thank
by. I
you.
really appreciate it.